What's up? This is Rebel Radio.
What up? What up? This is DJ Newmark.
This is Peanut Butter Wolf.
It's your boy. It's okay.
Keep checking out Rebel Radio.
Rebel Radio.
This is Rebel Radio.
We're in the place right here. Rebel Radio is going down.
Would you say Rebel Radio?
Oh, wait. Let's do it again.
Rebel Radio.
What's up, Rebels? Welcome to Rebel Radio, the weekly show where I bring you the rebels that are shaping our culture. We talk about how they do it, why they do it, and what you can do to get a little piece of the pie for yourself. We're also the only show to bring you new music every week from our friends over at edm.com. I'm your host, Josh Levine. In studio with me today is Bob Moz. He's the managing director of Techstars Music. If you're not familiar with Techstars, it's a tech accelerator which is working with companies that are solving problems for music. So they find companies, they put money and resources behind them, they bring professionals like me in to mentor them, and basically they help these companies get off the ground, find their market, refine their product, all the stuff that it takes to be successful in that environment. Bob's got some great stories about his journey into this position through Twitter and other places, and also offers his perspectives on entrepreneurship, on building businesses, on the future of music. There's great stuff coming up in this one right after our edm.com track of the week. Yeah, that was Dimes with Running Man, the edm.com track of the week. If you like that one, get over to edm.com, check out more new music. And now let's get into the interview with my man Bob Moz.
Tell me how this works. I listened to some of the shows. You have some really cool guests. Yeah. I'm a little nervous that I don't make the. I don't clear the cultural relevant bar.
No.
Like people are gonna be like, oh cool, those are great guests. Like, fuck's with that guy? What do you got that nerd on there for?
That's good. That imposter syndrome is always it's a key element of success. That's one of the things we've learned.
I'm just
to all these people.
I was listening to the
everyone
shows.
Feels like they don't make the cut.
Really?
As a general rule.
Esteban Oriol didn't sound to me like he felt like he kind of belonged. Seemed to me.
Fair enough.
That dude is so talented. Yeah. Like I was surprised. I was like, I never really heard him.
He had this great story of like his dream job is right in front of him and he blows it.
He blows it.
And he luckily had this wife who put her foot in his ass and made him, get through it.
I thought the story about the lady at the photo lab was the best. Yeah. I was like, holy shit.
Totally.
Like you just took your photos to the photo lab? That's how it happened?
Right.
Like you're one of the best photographers like in the US. Like I'm a kind of a nerd art fan.
Are you?
Like I think he's so underrated. Yeah. Like who else would have ever been able to take pictures that made you feel that way? And if you are from I'm not from LA. I've only lived here for 15, 16 years. But I always loved it and cared about it and dreamed about it, like living in the Midwest. And it just like those pictures are like they have the feeling of the city. Like I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But that's a magical thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not any different than like Impressionists painting Paris. And everybody else painting Paris after the Impressionists or like Picasso's Blue Period and that whole 1920s to the 40s or whatever. Like that whole scene, like that's how Paris gets painted now forever for like the next 500 years till some other kid figures out how to do it differently.
But it takes natives.
For sure. Like that's how you depict Los Angeles.
Right.
Like that's it.
Yeah, and it takes, a guy like that who gets that, Cholo culture is part of Los Angeles, as is celebrity, right? And so, the
cars, graffiti.
Right? These things are part of the fabric of what it means to be here and part of the reason that LA has this outsized impact on the rest of the world, right? And so, but if you come at it from a kind of true journalistic perspective, meaning you have that distance, then you don't capture it. Do you know what I mean? And so Esteban like feels like he belongs. Kind of to your point, right? Like he belongs with Robert De Niro, and he belongs with some dude with tattoos all over his face,
Right.
in the same way.
Yeah.
And he doesn't treat either one like they're strangers.
I just look. I don't know him. Never worked with him. Never met him. Don't have any connection to him at all. I'm 100% just a fan.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, like I can't believe that you didn't know that those photos were that good.
Right.
Like I was just so shocked by him telling that story of like,
Yeah.
dude, you have no idea.
But you're the same. I'm going to tell you why. And this is why.
Give me a break. Give me a giant
No,
break.
you are. And this is why I wanted to talk to you, because the world is enamored by tech.
Yeah.
And our tech.
Me too.
And our tech CEOs have become celebrities. And, are having, it's a new phenomenon that, I remember when like Lee Iacocca was on the news and we heard about that, and I was at the age where like, that was probably the first CEO
Celebrity
I had ever
CEO.
heard, right?
Yeah.
But that's not a normal thing. We don't know who's
I
the
did a
CEO.
book report on the Iacocca book in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, fuck that kid. Like, who is that kid? They're like, you didn't read that book. And I was like, yeah, I did. They're
Sure.
like, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
nerd.
Right.
It was not cool.
No, but now if you're doing a book report on Mark Zuckerberg, like that is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But like my role in tech is not, I'm not one of those guys.
But
right?
you're finding those guys.
Yeah. I mean, I hope. Like, cross your fingers. Like,
Well, let's talk about what you're doing.
otherwise I should go get a job, right? Like, I hope I am.
That's right.
Well, yeah, we should probably tell people nobody knows who I am. How do we start that? What do we do?
Well, so thank you for being here. I
Okay.
appreciate you taking time on your day off to come talk to me.
Yeah, I love it.
I am fascinated with what you do, and I think it's a really interesting and valuable program. And so I'm excited to learn about it and your journey specifically. So, but yeah, let's tell people what Techstars music is.
Okay.
And then I want to dig into why and how you've made this life for yourself. But
Okay.
anyone
yeah, so,
doesn't know.
My name is Bob Moczydlowsky. I'm the managing director of Techstars Music. It's an accelerator. We make venture investments in companies solving problems for music. We make 10 investments a year. Mm-hmm. I am part of a team at Techstars globally that runs these accelerator programs all over the planet. So we have 45 of these programs. Singapore, London, Berlin, Boulder, Chicago, LA, Seattle, New York, right? All Paris, all over the place. Mm-hmm. Some of those programs are what we call city programs, and so they don't have like a specific industry or investment thesis about a specific kind of tech or a specific category or that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Their thesis is regional. Mm-hmm. So in like in the office that you come to, when you come and do mentor meetings and meet the companies and help the startups, in that office in the fall, Techstars LA runs. Right. And Anna Barber, who's my colleague, she's here in LA, and it's her job to find the 10 most interesting sort of seed stage startups in LA and help push them forward and make them go faster.
Cool.
So we have city programs, that's most of our programs. Then we have sort of some programs that we run in cooperation with big companies. Mm-hmm. So like with Barclays, the big bank, we run a bunch of fintech programs all over the world. And so the 10 companies that go through that accelerator are only fintech companies. Nice. And they're working really closely with us and with Barclays. Mm-hmm. And then we have my favorite kind of program. I'm obviously biased, is we have these like vertical specific programs. We have Techstars Impact around impact investing. Oh, cool. Like for-profit investing that like makes a positive social change in the world. Not nonprofits, still businesses, but like that their after effects of the businesses are awesome. That's in Austin. It's run by my colleague Zoe Schlag. Super cool program. In Minnesota, we have Farm to Fork, which is like 10 companies doing like farm to fork stuff around like better nutrition, sustainable agriculture, that kind of thing. Nice. In Detroit, we run mobility. Yeah. And then the mobility was the model program for music. So my colleague Ted runs that, and he has a consortium of Ford and Continental Tire and Verizon Telematics and Munich RE and all these like major players in the auto industry. Yeah. helping with him with funding and space and advice and mentorship. And then he's running Techstars Mobility, making 10 investments in mobility-related startups. And then here in LA, we run Techstars Music. We scour the planet. So half the year I'm traveling all over the world, meeting engineers and meeting founders and trying to figure out where music is headed. And it might be live events, it might be ticketing, it might be marketing, it might be what happens in the show, it might be merch, it might be making music, it might be distributing music, it might be how royalties and money moves, it might be how you learn music, like if you're a kid, it might be how music is used in healthcare. So like anything that touches music related stuff comes through me on our investment team. And our thesis is that there are sort of 20 great music related, not music companies, but music related companies solving problems for music. There's 20 great new music related tech companies a year. Our goal is to invest in half of them at the seed stage. We're going to be wrong 50 to 80% of the time.
Okay.
Right? So our goal is to make sure that 25% of the most important startups over the next decade in music are in our portfolio.
Interesting.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Like we're a little over that right now, but that's all, a little bit of that's hype.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when
of course.
companies actually play out. But that's how it works. So that's what we do. So I'm not really a VC. My job is, to your point a minute ago, I'm a talent scout. I'm looking for people who are in love with a problem that if they figure out an ingenious way to solve it, they and their investors make tons of money. And I'm trying to get them into the venture ecosystem.
Sure.
So not little companies, but companies that could be big, giant, scalable companies.
Yeah. So tell me why does this accelerator model work? Why is faster a good idea?
Yeah, so we talk about it a lot. Big Techstars thing, do more faster. One of the goals is try to do like a year's worth of work in 3 months. And a lot of it is just down to rapidly collecting feedback. So if you're a company that you think record labels could use for some part of their process, whether it's, let's say you're a company that helps them manage their media catalog and find what's in it and make sure they have assets and they're quick to respond to opportunities and they can build and monetize things.
Right.
Let's say that's your company or make a made up company.
Yeah.
If you don't come to our program, how long does it take you to build a network in music?
Maybe could be years.
Years, right?
Yeah.
In our program, in the first 6 weeks of the program, we have a pool of 300 mentors from the global music business who will come and spend 20, 30 minutes with them and give them a chance to build a relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So they'll have 105 individual one-on-one meetings with, and you've seen our mentor list. It's not like junior people.
No.
Right? It's super senior
It's
folks.
important people than me.
Yeah, we let you hang around.
I appreciate it.
No, you're very helpful. You're a really good mentor. So it's like that list, like those people, like build relationships.
Yeah.
And because we have 10 companies from around the world in one office, and we try to like make it feel good to be in our office. Like if you're a mentor, we try to like make it feel good to be part of it. But all of those people are coming to like under what we call sort of a guiding principle of Techstars and of the accelerator is give first, right? We have the big neon sign in the office when you walk in, give first. And the idea is that you are here as a mentor to help these startups with a zero quid pro quo. Like you're not here because you're going to get a couple of points as a company, or they're going to pay you a consulting fee, or they're going to do something that you're going to turn around and sell, or they're going to become your client. None of that's allowed in our office, right? So we have these companies for 13 weeks. Everybody's here to volunteer, so they're only there to be helpful. And because they're all there in that setup, like we end up with like convening power. Like, oh, that guy's going to mentor?
Yeah.
Well, I should go and mentor. Like, oh, you're part of that? Oh, cool. Like, I should be part of that too. Like, oh, that's happening? That company came out of there? Oh, I better go in there and see what's coming next.
Yeah.
And so it becomes this thing that feeds on itself of people just giving freely of their time and their expertise. And the companies, like what a gift, right? Like, oh my gosh, in the first 6 weeks of the program, they can build a whole network.
Yeah.
And then start to work out from that. And so that's why faster is better, right?
What's the downside to speed?
There are a couple. And and I'm sort of like acutely aware of one, which is like in this year's program, which you've seen these companies from this year's class. They're incredibly technical. Like this year's class is like it's science project year at Techstars Music. Like we have some deep tech, like hardcore engineering talent in the room, and not a lot of business people. Like there's not a lot of like MBA type. One team's from Japan, two teams are from Australia, one team's from France. Like we have some language issues, and we have some culture issues, and we also have like a process that is robbing these engineers of their normal dev time.
Right.
And so it's temporary and it's short, and they need all of this feedback so that they know what they're building.
Yeah.
And they need to hear that people don't care about that feature, or they don't care about that thing, but they like this thing a lot. They can make a bunch of money with that. So they need the information, but the process of gathering the information has slowed down technical process a little bit. Like not like dramatically, like it's a disaster.
Yeah.
But like a couple of teams are like, we're not going to be in the office tomorrow. We're going to stay home and just write code for 48 hours straight. Like, please do go home. So like the pace that we work at in the program is not sustainable and shouldn't be anybody's goal. Like we actually have a lot of like stuff we talk about, you know, all that, just like, people with startups, and it happens in music and culture too, like, I'm on that grind, man. I'm just hustling, whatever. Fuck that. Like it's so bad for you. Go to bed, right? Like you want to be great tomorrow, go to bed.
Yeah.
Like you got 4 or 5 hours where you're world class in a day, tops.
Sure.
Five if you're a superhero, right?
Yeah.
6 if you're Karen, whatever, right? But like you get like a finite amount.
That's right.
Like that. There's no chance that if you've been up for 2 days straight, that what you are doing is your best work. Like 0% chance.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a constant battle, like the tension of like, do more faster, do the right thing, right? Like, so we're trying to save people time. We're not trying to make them work really hard. Those are two different things.
Interesting.
Yeah. You have to work insanely hard to build a business
Sure.
of any kind.
Yeah.
But you can't work hard for hard's sake. Right? Like
I mean, I have this, I remember like, so I had front row seats to the like .com boom and bust, right? Like I wasn't in it, but I was dealing with a bunch of those companies and so.
Yeah.
And I developed this idea at the time that people had forgotten it takes 9 months to make a baby.
Totally.
Right?
Totally, for sure.
And that like
sure.
you could just skip steps and that would be okay. And so,
Well, like that company Endel, right? It's in the press all over this week. Like you literally cannot open a web browser, read a
'cause
cultural
they
magazine
just
without
did an
reading
Apple
about
deal,
Endel.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have the Warner deal too. Like Warner's putting the music out in Spotify.
Right.
They have it promoted to Apple. They were the #1 app in Japan in February in the whole country.
Yeah.
Like not in the whole store.
Yeah.
Not like the music app, but like the #1 app.
Yeah.
And rewind a year ago, those dudes are in the office. There's these adorable Russian guys. They live in Berlin. They had a company before called Bubble. They built this product Endel that helps you focus, gives you customized audio environments. And it's really like a smart home controller company. Like they create atmospheres.
Yeah.
They don't really make music. It's procedurally generated sound design. It sounds kind of like music, but it's like designed to get you to focus and relax. And you should edit some in right now so everybody just like chill out right now. It's a little Endel right here. Okay, so now that you're relaxed. So that company did a deal with Warner to distribute sort of static playlists into Spotify under like those themed playlists, right?
Yep.
It's everywhere. The Verge, like Warner signs an algorithm. This algorithm signed to a record deal. It was like, what the, like, okay, like you don't understand how a distribution deal works, right? So it got a little hypey. But the point I was trying to make is that like a year ago, everybody was like, those Russian dudes are crazy. And now it's like the hottest app on the planet. And everybody was like, wow, what changed? I was like, well, they did 12 months worth of work.
Right.
They like 1 foot in front of the other, and like they didn't quit, and they're really talented. And then now here's what happens a year later. So like, you're like, it takes 9 months to make a baby is like a perfect reminder of like, you see something as a snapshot in time. And so like as an investor and as like a talent scout, my job is to try to like see it multiple times. And measure the progress from like the first time I saw it to the last time I saw it. And the same thing happens with the investors that come visit my program. Like we have an investor who's been coming around. This like we're in our third year. Like we've made 30 investments. He's just about to make his first investment in one of our portfolio companies, and it's in a company from the first class that he's been watching for 3 years.
Interesting.
Like that's how long sometimes it takes.
Yeah. So let's talk about you.
Oh, okay. It's more fun to talk about the companies.
Yeah, but so you're a talent scout as you described, and
I guess, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm just trying to like think of it in like super plain terms,
Yeah.
right? Like I make investments, but like I deploy $1.2 million a year in
Yeah.
actual capital, and I spend another $1 million a year, a little more than $1 million, like making those investments more valuable
right.
and finding them.
So why? What is it?
I'm not a VC, right? A VC is like
Right.
has a big fund and whatever,
Yeah.
and like I have very limited setup.
Yeah, but so I guess my question is, why music? for
Can't help
you?
it.
Yeah.
Can't. It's like I only care about a couple of things. Like it's just I just don't have that many interests. I'm just a voracious fan of it.
Yeah.
Like I've always have been. I've always worked in tech, but only tech related to music.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's like, oh, you've worked in the music business for so long. I was like, I've never worked in the music business. I've never had a music job. I've only ever worked in tech. But I was at Yahoo Music.
Right.
Then I was at Topspin. Then I was the head of music at Twitter for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm doing this. Like it's all tech related to music.
So how'd you get to that point? What was the, you had a traditional. You went to college.
Yeah.
Right. And so
I got a bad job out of college working for the Kansas City Star.
Okay.
I got a journalism degree. I
Yeah.
worked for a newspaper in the pre-press department.
Mm-hmm.
It's my job to I was the only person who knew how Postscript worked. If you remember Postscript.
I do remember.
Yeah. Like I could tear up some Quark Express a decade ago. And then I worked for like a convention publishing company.
Okay.
That you'd go to conventions and would produce all the media, the websites, the
Yep.
book, all the stuff, the newspaper, all the stuff that would happen at the event. So I did that for 5 years. And then I went to grad school at Carnegie Mellon and studied entertainment management.
Mm-hmm.
I came out here and had to do an internship working for Paula Wagner and Tom Cruise.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's when I learned about non-disclosure agreements,
I bet.
confidentiality agreements.
Yeah.
I ended up babysitting his kid for an hour. I ended up locking me and Peter Fonda like in the bulletproof reception box at their office because like you had to you couldn't get in, and then it was like bulletproof glass, whatever, in case a crazy person came, stalker or something came in. And like I was there supposed to be like helping them with internet research and digital strategy, and like everybody went to lunch and they're like, "You're on the phones, new guy," and I was like, I don't know how to even work. The phone had like so many buttons. It was like I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And Peter Fonda came in like for a meeting with Paula, and everybody was gone but me, and like he was early.
Uh-huh.
And so I asked him if he wanted a drink of water or whatever. And I was like trying to do my best impersonation of a Hollywood assistant. Like I didn't know how that worked.
Sure.
I got him the water, and I went out there and like let the door close behind me. So like me and Peter Fonda are locked in this box, like can't get in the office, can't go anywhere, can't call anyone.
Wow.
Yeah. So I called my friend Cody Sims, who works at Techstars now, who was working at Yahoo at the time, and I was like, rescue me. I will work for free. I will do anything.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Ian Rogers, and then he and I spent the next 7-8 years kind of as his right hand.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But like all through college and growing up and being a kid, voracious music fan, would like help other local bands and care about them. And
Did you play music?
No, I never really played. I mean, I tried. We had one little goofy like basement band, but like nothing real.
What were you into?
Like listening wise?
Huh?
Oh God, like we can spend the whole podcast just talking about records if you want.
Well, I know you don't have all day for us, but we'll have you back and talk about music.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but just
like
give
everything.
me context. What was like?
Okay.
What was the first? I like to ask this question. What was the
Okay.
first record you ever bought for yourself?
With my own money?
Yeah.
Okay. Does a gift certificate count?
Sure.
This is a pretty good story.
Because you chose it.
It's a pretty good story. So, this is a good story. So I was 7. I was born in 1975, 82. Yeah, I was 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
I was Foothills Fashion Mall, Fort Collins, Colorado. It was like a summer promo days at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm in second grade. They have a hot air balloon in the parking lot.
Oh wow.
And the guy goes up in the hot air balloon, and then he drops a bunch of like prizes out of the hot air balloon on like little parachutes, and they would go all over the parking lot, and people would like run around and try to grab them or whatever.
Yeah.
And I caught one, and it was a gift certificate to the record store in the mall.
Uh-huh.
And my mom was like, okay, cool, like let's go get whatever it is, right? And I was like, I get to pick, right? I get to pick? She's like, yeah, you can pick whatever. Like, pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and I knew what I was after, but I wanted her on record saying I could pick whatever I wanted. And we walked right in, and she's like, let's look around. I was like, nope. And I walked right through. It was on the end cap, and I took Number of the Beast off the cassette for Number of the Beast off.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, whoa, time out. And I was like, nope, you said in the parking lot, I can pick whatever I want. This is it.
That's awesome.
And like we argued in the store back and forth, and I wouldn't let it go. And so finally she let me do it. And then she let me get it. So I got it. And I was like, oh, man, it had Eddie on the front.
Yeah.
And I was just like, took it to school, and like for like a whole day, I just took it to school and showed it to people.
Sure.
Like, this is mine.
Yeah.
I got this. Check it out. It's got a skeleton on the front. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then like so that was like the very first thing. And then I would go back and forth. I had a really hard time with like in my hometown. Like I lived in Fort Collins, it's a little town, it's a college town. It's really nice now, but it's not like a cultural mecca or whatever.
Sure.
Like it's gotten a lot better, but like, you know,
Yeah, bands don't come through.
no, yeah, like
Yeah.
well, when I was in high school, Bill and Steven from the Descendants moved to Fort Collins and opened the Blasting Room, and that was
wow.
like, oh my God, like that's what the Descendants live in my town. But until between now and like that happening, it was like, 60,000 people, lots of Van Halen records, right? That's a funny story. I had 1984 and thought it was a masterpiece.
Sure.
And then when 5150 came out, I was like, what the, come on. And everybody in my school thought 5150 was the greatest thing that ever existed in history, right? Same thing happened with rap records. Like, if you had taste, you were alone. Like, you just were like you know what I mean? Like, you're alone.
Yeah.
Like, you were just the loneliest thing in the world.
Sure.
Like, I would ride my bike to the one record store that was by the college, put my money on the counter, they would lay records out, like, and it would, like, the guy in the back finally, this guy's name was Mark Palmer, he was really nice to me, like, was like, okay, that kid actually knows what he's talking about. He would let me order shit out of magazines and help me get stuff.
Yeah.
He introduced me to like the Buzzcocks and My Bloody Valentine, and it would help me like work backwards, right?
Yeah.
So when 5150 came out, like everybody's like, that's the greatest, whatever, and I was like, fuck, like come on, people, like you should be listening to these records. And I had like I had like an ESG record. Do you know ESG?
Yeah.
And like and then people were like, well, we like the Beastie Boys, and I was like, the whole record is ESG samples, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was the whole so there would be like that kind of tension. And then the moment I knew that it wasn't going to be like a nerd thing and it was going to be like a super cool thing was when I took DOC's No One Could Do It Better to school on cassette, and it got stolen.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, like someone actually wanted that, right?
Yeah.
Like, to this day, by the way, that's another one. Put that in the podcast.
Oh, it's a masterpiece.
That's the greatest hip hop record ever made, period, hands down. I'll fight anybody else about it. It's the perfect.
I mean,
that's the top.
DOC's like
It's the greatest.
It's a great
greatest
tragedy.
Greatest rapper of all time. Like, I'll die on that hill.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, that record's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, because it's Dre before he's Dre. It's DOC when nobody gives a shit who he was. Like there just is like the amount of potential. It's like listening to London Calling. Like, the amount of potential you hear in that is like you can hear everything that happens afterwards is included in that one record.
That's right.
It's all in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not perfect, but it is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that's it. Like, there was the moment that everybody else looked and saw it and whatever, but like, it's the best.
Okay.
That's the kind of listener I am. Also, I can school you on classic country if you want.
Oh, no, I don't.
You want to talk about Red Sovine or the Oak Ridge Boys?
I do know the Oak Ridge Boys. I know very little about country, and I'm working to keep it that way.
Don Gibson. No, I mean, I'll make you a playlist of like incredible.
If you make it, I'll listen to it.
I'll make it. I'll totally make it.
So there's an argument, because I'm about to make it,
Okay.
that most artists do their best work when they're not under pressure.
Yeah.
The DOC album being a great example. Most artists first.
Not under like commercial pressure,
Right,
not
like
under like
most
only when it's
artists-
only like self-generated pressure.
Well, yeah, sure, but most artists' first record is their best. If we look at the mountain of good,
Oh yeah, for
Right?
sure. Yeah, totally.
mostly
Like, we should also have a law that like you have to break, like any rock band has to break up after their third record automatically. Like
That was good. We should do Bob's Laws.
that would be like out for sure.
Okay, we'll make that a regular feature. of the
We'll call
show.
it the U2 convention. The U2 Accords. You
So-
get 4 records and you're out. Like,
Right? So it's really hard to sustain,
Mm-hmm.
which is another thing we should talk about, and we're definitely going to have you back. But that's the opposite of the tech model that we're describing, which is do more faster, right? And get,
yeah.
and so why, how do you reconcile those two things?
You might be onto something. I mean, like the biggest, most powerful, influential tech companies of like a lot of them were accidents.
Yeah.
Like YouTube was an accident.
Kind of all of them, right?
Right?
Sort of.
Facebook was a little more calculated, but was still like, not like no one's like, oh, here's what we're gonna do. Like, this is gonna
No,
be
it
the
was
plan.
definitely
we're
like,
gonna
let's
connect these people
let's
together.
get our friends at Harvard to
That's right.
just all be connected. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So when you have a really simple use case and a really elegant solution for it, and that's when like you just build a thing to solve it for yourself because you're like, oh, I want to do this thing. That's usually when you end up with sort of like incredible like planetary scale. There's other things that are like counter to that, but the ones that you know and touch in your life every day, right? Like think of Instagram as like,
Yeah.
it's like those guys was like their third photo sharing app.
Right.
Like people need to share photos with each other.
Yeah.
And we have these things in our pockets now that like everybody is now carrying a camera, right? And it was just like a really simple thing, like people realizing that your phone was a camera and that everybody had one, and that was going to result in everybody is going to take a lot more photos and going to need to do something with them.
Yeah.
Simple, so simple,
Right.
right? And really elegant interface, and like the core use case of Instagram from day one to today is like 95% the same.
Yeah.
Like there's tons of other stuff
Right, but
buried
it's
under other
mostly just,
tabs
I
with
wanna share
lots
this
of product
photo with
managers and lots of like engagement metrics and data to keep people engaged or whatever. But the reality of it is I'm gonna share this photo with these people.
Yeah.
Same thing, Twitter. And so like, I think there's a lot to that, which is like YouTube guys just made YouTube because they wanted to and they could and they saw something and they made it. Instagram
So-
dudes made it like,
So
that's
how do
the
you
same
apply
for
that
artists, I
in
think.
your business?
So it's really like when you have it and you see it, like I think it's one of those things where you just have to like get out of the way. I think in the way we make investments, I think we've made 30 investments. I think we have made 2 that fit that bill. I hope.
Okay.
2. The rest of them are like lots of other companies, and like you're looking for interesting businesses, right? Like Blink Identity, this company from last year,
Yeah, yeah.
does high-speed
Love
facial
what they're doing.
recognition. They're working with Ticketmaster on your faces your ticket, right? They come out of a military background. Anywhere there's a line, that's a security target. There needs to not be lines. People's identity needs to be is what is the core of them being secure, like knowing who's in the building, who's coming and going, who has permission. Like identity equals real security.
Sure.
Right? The rest of it's just theater. The metal detector at the airport, all that stuff, it's theater. It's to make you feel like you're secure.
Right.
That company is going to be a massive, giant, amazing thing. Their ability to see that and build a piece of software for it comes from like, Alex building security networks that were like part of government ID in certain countries, right? The long history of them doing that and then going, oh, check this out. The technology off the shelf and the hardware off the shelf is good enough that we could build a solution for this, that where you could start to have identity
Right.
even in any place where you have one of those RFID like access cards.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing.
Yeah.
So like that company is not sort of like the big consumer YouTube like consumer
right,
tech
sure.
thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's going to be a massive
They're
business.
solving an important problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's one where like they went looking, they saw there's a big problem and they knew that they could do it and they apply their stuff to it. It wasn't the happy accident of I need
Right.
to share these videos with my friends. How do I do that?
For sure.
So you have to make both.
Yeah.
Like the other ones are so rare. Like, you're just
about,
lucky to be around.
So going back to that Iron Maiden album. So this is not a good. This sounds more kind of old guy curmudgeon than I intended to be.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
A little get off my lawn coming right now.
no. But you know, look, technology / everything else about our society has ruined that moment for your kids.
Oh,
and mine.
disagree totally.
Okay.
Let's go. I'll go to the math on this.
Okay. Good.
Getting on my bike with a $20 bill to go to the record store to buy a record I hope I wanted fucking sucked. Fuck that.
Not when you actually got it.
Nope. That's nostalgia. You have to kill nostalgia. Like you can't. Like culture. Like nostalgia is bad.
I don't know.
Nostalgia is bad. Like you can't. Like I do it all the time in my job. I like look like next. Like what's the next coolest thing? Like could you imagine how magical it would have been? I'm in my bedroom in my parents' house. My dad's listening to like Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin brothers. My mom's listening to Ferrani and Teicher piano records. And like I'm dying for some time to get my records on.
Yeah.
And instead I could go up in my room and have access to like I would pour out, like I'd get into the Buzzcocks or Wire. I had a whole couple of years where like I went so deep on like that like New Romantics and the post-punk stuff coming out of the UK. You can't get that shit in 1985 in Fort Collins, Colorado. Like there ain't no Buzzcocks record at the, you know what I mean? Like
No, I get it.
like I would have had access to that. I could have communicated with people who were like that. Like I spent my whole childhood genuinely not believing I could work in arts and culture and that I didn't belong in it because I came from a place where that didn't happen. People went on vacation to places where arts and culture came from. I didn't know anybody who was a musician. I didn't know anybody who was an artist. I didn't know anybody who could make TV or film. I didn't know anybody who contributed to culture. And I couldn't see it. Like I just couldn't touch it, couldn't understand how it worked. I was 32 years old working as an intern at a grad school because I finally realized when I was like in my late 20s that I was as good at and relevant in this scene as anybody else. And it took that long for me to realize it, and a bunch of happy accidents with some artists I was associated with where I was just like, all right, well, if that dude manages that band, I'm in. Like, because that guy's an idiot. And if I was doing his job, I could put real money in that band's pocket.
Yeah.
And that was an accident. And if I would have had access and had been able to talk to people and get access to the things I loved and consumed, like I'd have been a totally different person a lot earlier.
So what I worry about, and I don't know if it's just nostalgia, but what I worry about is that I believe that scarcity creates value. That's a basic rule of economics.
Yeah.
Right? And that, you know, it's the difference between getting helicopter dropped at the top of Everest and enjoying the view versus having struggled to get up there.
Okay, that's a different story. But like, you still have to listen to stuff. You still have to have opinions. You still have to figure out how you contribute. Like, you want to hear a weird story?
Yeah, that's why we're here.
I'm not a big Pearl Jam fan. Like, I never was really super into it or whatever. And I was always like, I wasn't a hater. I was just like,
no, I'm the same.
I was like, this is cool.
It's cool.
I like it. It's all right. I got Who's Next. I got Live at Leeds. Like, I know what this is. But I was like, I must remember I was on an airplane or something or whatever, and it's like I was reading a magazine, and there was like an interview with Eddie Vedder, and he was talking about stuff, and someone asked him a question about like, maybe it was around when they did a record with Neil Young or something, and he's like the line that's really stuck with me to this day, which was, and again, I'm like not a fan of the dude at all. It was a really weird thing to have like this Eddie Vedder quote burned in my brain, right? It's like it sounds awkward saying it, kind of embarrassed saying it. But the line was something like, if you want to meet your heroes, or like if you aspire to meet people that you look up to, your job is to figure out how to meet them in the way where you're meeting them as a peer. Yeah. Like your job is to go do something that makes them look at you the same way you look at them. Sure. Then you can meet them. Then you can actually have a relationship with people that you look up to and care about. Mm-hmm. And that has come true for me in my life like a dozen times. And every time it happens, I'm back on that plane in reading the magazine with my bad convention publishing job. You know what I mean? Like going to like some shitty convention somewhere, reading the music magazine, and I can just I can't, like, I'm not getting the words right, you know what I mean? But like, I can feel that feeling in that weird moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're talking about, which is like, you have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to get to the point where like people treat you like they're your peers.
Yeah.
And that you have something to offer that's not the same thing that like,
Yeah.
and I think that and nostalgia get mixed up.
Yeah.
You know what I
absolutely
mean?
right.
Like, having access to tons of music allows you to form your taste really quickly and like I can't even imagine what I'd have been like growing up with Spotify. I wouldn't have left my parents' basement for like a year.
Right.
I'd have been down there for like a year.
Yeah, sure.
And I would have like, so my taste would still be my taste. Like, I don't think that my taste is a product of having to like, you know, ride my bike across town and.
Oh, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that dude at the counter, you know, because I think I believe that taste is subjective,
Okay.
right? And that so much of that has to do with how we learn about music and who introduces it to us, this influence model, right? And
Yeah.
there are friends who had shown me one record and then the next one I was more interested in because of who they were. That, you know, any music my wife plays for me, I automatically don't like. You know, or it's harder for me to give it a shot because I know what else she likes.
That's so funny.
Right? So context, I think, matters.
That's like me swallowing the Eddie Vedder quote right there. That's
Exactly.
Like, God, am I really telling? Did I really say that on a
Right?
podcast? Shit.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Have you ever liked a song and then found out who it was by and like, oh man.
I
that
have.
sucks,
I
right?
have. That's true. I have done that.
So all this stuff matters. Like, it's a very
I've done that.
complicated algorithm for how we like what we like.
Yes.
And so unlimited, unfettered access certainly has tremendous benefits. I also think it has tremendous costs.
All right.
And
You're making a valid point there.
it's not one or the other, right? It's
Yeah.
not, I'm not saying we should get rid of streaming.
Yeah.
I love it. I use it
Oh
every
my
day.
God, it's the best thing that's ever happened.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I also think that there is for a 12-year-old kid, 8-year-old kid coming up today, they're not gonna get to have that experience of pent-up desire, at least not for music.
Yeah, it's true. I guess you're right. You're right. The
Which is
pent-up
also
desire
valuable.
part. The pent-up desire part is a motivator. Yeah.
I think it's
That's
equally,
a really valid point.
maybe more so even on the creator side, right? Like that, the pent-up, you know, creative energy that you're just trying to get out to the world and you can't get anyone, you know.
So on that point, that's where I think where we're headed technologically. That's going to be really interesting.
Good, because that's my next question.
Because I think that is like, there are places on the planet, like we have a company in our portfolio called Popgun, which I won't say that much about. You can do a little research online. You can see some of the stuff they're doing. You know, they've got pretty incredible like adversarial neural network technology making pop songs.
Mm-hmm.
They're making pop songs entirely with AI.
Yeah.
And the thing about that is not that that's going to replace musicians, right? There's a bunch of people just immediately turned the podcast off or went and buried their hand in the sand, right?
Yeah.
Buried their head in the sand. That's not the issue.
Right.
The issue, like, you're still going to need humans. You're still going to have to curate. You're still going to have to put things together. People are still going to have to be engaging.
Yeah.
But like the things that are below the line in music, like tuning, where's the mic positioned, all these things that have become craft over the years.
Yeah.
That's not what you're listening to.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter, right? Like
No.
like
but it
I
does.
can care. Like it does and it doesn't, right? It only does.
But I mean,
only
we're
in
not
the-
conscious of it.
That's right.
But
it matters only in so much as that it was required to move you.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can take that stuff away, like no one cares how you tune the instrument. If the instrument's in tune, we get the tuning you want. If software did it, great. If you auto-tuned it, great. If you quantized it, great. Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like the answer is like, does it move me when I listen to it?
Right.
So imagine you have a machine that makes stuff and you can quickly curate it and every human being on the planet can now do that. What that means is like there are kids in Lagos and there are kids in Mumbai and there are kids in like crazy places in Eastern Europe that have no concept of like participating in global culture.
Sure.
And they're in the next 3 to 5 years, I think personally, technically, they will have the same technical ability that we have sitting in this crazy room that we're sitting in right now with all the studio equipment and the compressors and everything else. Everything that can get made in this room 2-3 years from now, maybe less, could be made in a like on a bed in Ghana, on a bed in
Yeah,
Mali,
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
right? On a bed in Mumbai or in Lahore in Pakistan or in Indonesian islands or wherever, right? And those kids are rad.
Yeah.
And they have crazy ideas and they have cultural things that are attached to them that will move us in ways that like we don't even understand yet because we live in our little like Western, like modern economy bubble, and we think, oh, pop music is this, right? And like they're gonna make pop music be something totally different.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Okay, before I let you get out of here,
It's gonna be awesome.
couple last questions. I think that's exciting.
But to your point about pent up, like desire, right?
Yeah,
like they have
absolutely.
it, like deep,
For sure.
because they have no chance, and then all of a sudden they're gonna have a chance.
Yeah.
They got mobile phones, and the internet, it's on.
Yeah. So I'm sure you've learned a ton
Oh God.
doing this.
You mean
since
doing
you've
like
been with
trying to make investments?
Techstars, yeah.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest surprise?
It's so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be wrong like infinite ways. It's really hard. Like it's really about the team. Like do these people have something special? And are they in love with a problem? Not their solution, like this is a trap, right?
Right.
A lot of people are in love with their solution. They're in love with their magic trick.
Yeah.
They're not in love with the problem. So like, are they in love with the problem? And if they solve this problem, do we have a $1 billion company?
Yeah.
And that trying to be able to make those decisions and look in a very specific, narrow category, companies solving problems for music, and then build relationships with investors who traditionally have not been that interested in the music category. Because music startups, people think, oh, you have the same economics as Spotify.
Right.
And you've got all these big companies that are using music as a loss leader economically. And so that's like a really impossible way for you to compete. And then people come, like, so trying to get investors to come just show up in our room and look at what the companies are, right? Like, I can't tell you how many investors, just as an aside, like, are paying attention to our program now this year because Blink was in the program last year.
Sure.
And everybody was like, that's not a music company. What are you doing in Techstars music? And they're like, oh, well, if your face is your ticket, like, and concerts can be safer, that's awesome. That's what we want to invest in. That's companies solving problem for music.
Yeah.
Are they a music company? No. That's a biometric security company.
Sure.
It's really a door company if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
They make the door from Star Trek. But that's so hard. Like it's like so I've learned how to like talk about what we're doing and why in ways that I wasn't very eloquent about.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good at it yet. Like I have to get a lot better at it. Like I have a pretty good network and people I'm connected to a lot of people and I'm very blessed by like having done that, but all of my network is a result of work I have done. It wasn't a result of like actually networking.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is how it should be.
And I kind of suck at actually networking.
Networking sucks.
The problem is if you're an investor, it's part of your job. Like it's like you kind of have to figure out a way to like communicate with people and meet them and build connections so that you can connect other people. Like my job has become now
Fair enough.
not do work and connect people to the work or to myself. It's to like help other people do work and connect other people to them.
Yeah.
And that's a lever of abstraction that I like was really unprepared for. Also, it sucks when you're wrong, right? Like it sucks when you're like,
of course.
you have you invest in a company and it's not working.
Yeah.
And maybe or you think it could work one way and the founder thinks it could work another way and you just have to shut up.
Yeah.
It's like it's your company, go run it.
Yeah.
That's really hard. I didn't like a lot of these things like and you're intellectually know, but you're like emotionally don't know. And then you have to emotionally know it.
Totally. Okay. Lightning round before I let you out of here.
Okay, go.
Favorite city to travel to?
Tokyo.
Yes. Favorite DJ?
Oh shit. Oh man. That's a hard one. Favorite DJ? AM.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah.
What's the last great book you read?
Unscaled. I forget the name of the author. It's about the sort of like next wave of text, nonfiction, super nerd book.
Cool. Yeah, we'll look it up.
Yeah, it's called Unscaled. I really can't think of the author. It's yellow. It's got a.
Okay, we'll find
Yeah,
it.
it's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Nice. What movie have you seen the most in your life?
Oh no. Oh man. This is going to be super embarrassing. It is either Tommy Boy,
Uh-huh. That's a great movie.
Purple Rain.
Wow.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. It's either Tommy Boy, Purple Rain, or Caddyshack.
Those are 2.5 great movies. We
It's
watched.
probably Tommy Boy just because, like, if you
Well,
count
that's
the
the
number,
best
if
of
you
the
count the
three.
number of times I was like asleep on the couch while I was playing when I was
Yeah.
in college,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best of the three. I love Purple Rain.
Purple Rain is a terrible
My wife
movie.
and I
It's
watched
a
it
terrible
last
movie.
year, and
It's
it
so
does not
bad.
hold up
I watch
at
it
all.
all the time. I watch it constantly.
But for a young man of a certain age, like, that was a fantastic movie.
Like, I remember going to the theater. Like, I remember seeing like Purple Rain came. I can't remember when it came out, but it came out about the same time as like E.T. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they overlapped.
Yeah, ish. Yeah, 84.
Yeah, I don't know if they
83,
overlapped
84.
like in the real world,
Right,
but in
right,
my
right.
little small
Yeah,
town,
that's
they
about
overlapped, and you could see them at the theater, and everybody was going to see E.T. over and over again, and I was going to see Purple Rain over and over again.
Wow. I only saw it once in the theater, but no, that's great.
Look, we had VCRs till like I was in high school. Yeah. So.
On that theme, tell me a song you know is bad, but you love it anyway.
Oh shit. Song I know is bad, but love it anyway. Oh man, that's tough. Okay, so I'm gonna come out. I don't know why I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna say it.
Bless you.
I'm gonna say it. I don't know if I can say. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can say it. I honestly don't know if I can say it.
Deep breath. Can you put on the endle?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Really, you can. All right, I'm gonna say it. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm not. You know what? I'm not. I can't do
You're
it.
killing me.
I can't do it. I can't do it because my son's gonna listen to this podcast and he loves the song and I like it because of him and I love it and I'm not gonna do it.
You're a good father.
It's a 21 Pilots song,
Oh,
which is enough for me to just
I
be
wouldn't
like,
know it anyway. But
yeah, all right.
okay.
Also, I don't want to diss it. Whatever. It feels bad.
So if I worked for you,
Uh-huh.
what's something I would hear? What's something I would hear you say over and over?
I don't know. It's your company. That's like my classic. Like, it's your company. I don't know. Do what you want.
That's helpful.
Yeah. It's
I'm sure
not.
that's helpful when people came to you.
Yeah, it's not good. Like, I say it over and over again because it's the only way I know how to like draw a line. Like, I get really worried about being. I don't want to be complicit in making a bad decision.
Yeah.
And I already am definitely complicit in making some bad decisions with some of the companies we've invested in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't do any work. I don't I don't work on the company work, right? Like, I do lots of work, but I don't
Yeah.
work on the company.
Yeah.
And I don't have any control. I'm not the boss. You don't have to listen to me. You can tell me to shut up. Like, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say that a lot. Like, I don't know, and it's your company. Also, I'm late a lot. Like, I'm sort of chronically late.
You were on time here.
But it's like a constant thing of like, I think as an optimist,
Yeah.
I think I can do 10 things in some unit of time, and I
Yeah.
can only do 6 things in that unit of time.
Yeah.
And then
I'm guilty of that.
it sucks,
Yeah.
and I need to figure out a way to be better at it. The problem is that if you let the calendar run, then you get even less done. Like, I have to like
Right.
do things to completion,
Yeah.
and so sometimes like, oh, I have to do this task. Like, I've been writing a report this week, like nonstop, and tasks keep coming up that change the contents of the report, so I keep constantly changing it. And
Yeah, sure.
and the staff of the program is like, send the report, and I'm
Right.
just like, it's not done. Like, it'll be done when it's done.
Yeah.
And that's so you would also, if you worked with me, you would constantly hear me be like, it's not finished. I'm almost done. Almost.
But I mean, and that first one is such an important quality for leaders, period, right? Because, that's when I run into people who are successful and are in leadership positions, they're typically spending a big chunk of their time doing the work of the people who work for them,
Yeah.
right? And because that is a skill set that takes work to develop. To say that's your job, it's not my job, and you have to do it even if you don't do it perfectly.
Right. Yeah. The delegating is a real talent.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating for talented people
Right.
who could do like this is a thing that we actually talk to the CEOs of the companies we invest in a lot, which is there's generally, when the company's like 4, 5, 6 people, there's generally 1 or 2 people who are really the show.
Yeah.
And everybody else is there like helping the show happen. And one of the biggest risks to a fledgling startup, especially a deeply technical one, is that the CEO or the lead founder of that company is better than everybody at everything else in the business.
Yeah.
And so what happens is they hoard tasks, and so what you end up with is one person dying
Right.
and not talking about it and hoarding the tasks and keeping the work inside and getting super stressful.
Yeah.
And 5 other people keeping busy, right?
Yeah, but those people never get better.
No,
Like,
they
right.
never get better, and they also like end up resenting
resent
the other
it,
person
for sure.
And because they're like, why don't you trust me? Why won't you let me do this stuff?
Totally.
And then so their issues are at a high level, right? At a 35,000 foot level. Why don't you trust me? Why am I not on the team?
Yeah.
Share the ball, whatever. And then what happens is it immediately switches to the micro level. And so you're like, oh, well, look at this thing. Here's the task I need you to do. You do
Right.
this thing. Could you do that better than me?
Right.
And now you're on this little micro level about this specific task. And it's
sure.
like, oh, no, you know what? You should do that. You're better at me than that.
Right.
And then it just was like it's like a vicious cycle that never changes.
That's absolutely right.
We have to like be very conscious of it we had it with the founder last year, and the founder last year was like, did the most self-aware thing ever, which was like, come to me with it. He comes to me and he goes, I have a problem. He doesn't come to me with like, my team has a problem. He doesn't say my company has a problem. He's like, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm the problem.
Yeah, yeah. That's big.
And it was amazing. I was like,
huge.
wow, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody recognize that.
Yeah.
It's
That's
real.
awesome.
It's a real thing.
Nice. Man, thank you for coming.
Dude, this is fun. I feel like I just talk shit for 45 minutes and they're going to kick me out, and I'm going to be all embarrassed when I hear it.
So we'll come back after demo day, and we'll talk about music and all that fun stuff.
Okay. I should have just told you that it was a Huey Lewis song or something that I loved.
Yeah, you could have taken the easy way out.
I
but
could have just totally been like, oh, no, you know what? It's like I Want a New Drug by Huey Lewis. It's like, that's a pretty
That
good...
is a good bad song.
That's a pretty good bad song,
Yeah.
right? Now that I had time to front and think about it. Do people front when you ask them what their first record was?
I haven't.
do they
I
really,
haven't
like-
seen that.
Does anybody go like, oh, I got like a Mariah Carey record or whatever? Like, just,
Yeah, people.
Okay,
people
good.
tell
Okay,
us
good.
all kind of
Okay,
stuff.
good.
Some that they're embarrassed of and whatever. But I mean, Number of the Beat's nothing to be embarrassed of.
Well, I didn't spend any money on that, but I just only bought it because
Right.
it had a skeleton on the cover, and I was in 2nd grade. And then I was like, oh, also it's awesome. Like, I
Album
was
art is a
super
real thing.
excited. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
So everyone should check out Techstars online.
Yeah, we are techstarsmusic.com.
Nice.
I would invite people to like use the companies, and
Yeah.
like all of our stuff's pretty hard to get access to. Like, it's not open to the public or any
Sure.
of that sort of stuff. But like, I will do something that is in case someone's listening to this and is like, oh, I got to start up and I like tech and I like music.
Yeah.
My email address is bobmoz, BOBMOZ @techstars.com.
Nice.
Like, my job is to be accessible and look at your thing. So
Yeah.
if you are listening to this and you have a thing, I will look at it.
Submit it.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Techstarsmusic.com.
Dude, so much fun.
Yeah, super fun.
Hey, I hope you liked that. I know I did. That was Bob Moz on Rebel Radio. Leave us a comment, a review. You can hit us on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you like. It's at Rebel Radio Net. And of course, come back next week for more Rebel Radio. Peace.